have you ever done all the healing, all the shadow work, all the somatic, and still finding yourself going back into the same patterns? Welcome to our new episode with Carol and Lisa, where we have real talk. We talk about healing, we talk about our experience and what we're dealing or dealt with. Today's conversation, it's it's a deeper one. And I feel that I didn't fully comprehend it until this year. Our
Oh,
intention is for you to understand your nervous system. And your nervous system, it is the foundation of your healing. And maybe it is the missing piece of you feeling stuck, overwhelmed, that you feel that you haven't grown, or that your healing is not sticking. This is something Lisa and I have been deeply exploring. And it's not theory. No, this is being our journey, our healing. We're also been doing this in our weekly membership where we set intention to clear, heal, bring real transformation. And if you are curious about our weekly, please just comment weekly and I'm going to send you more details. But Lisa, this is what I have seen over and over and over. Healing doesn't happen just in the mind,
no.
it happens in our nervous system. What do you think about that?
I I've been talking, and for me, for even us to get to this conversation, the realization I've had in this last week was just even at my level. For me, it's not just spiritual. It's not just healing our emotions. It's not just healing our bodies. For me, it is everything. And we have to look at it, but it completely starts with the nervous system, because the nervous system talks to all parts of our bodies, even our intuition, and that's the part that people don't always don't put together. It even talks to our intuition. So if we're starting our base level of what our nervous system can do, it does everything without our body. So if we're not regulating it, how can you heal the other parts? And even like for me, how we even got to this conversation, I was telling Carol, I said, I have really been working on a course, something. And I was like, I've been working on this for like 3 years. And I know I'm not like I wrote it and we got to a certain part, or it's like I got stuck or anything. It wasn't complete. And I know how to put something up and come back to it. And I know I'm really good at it. And I just kept saying, what am I missing? And it said, be more personal. I didn't understand it. Part of my story always starts at I talk to people about the weight I've lost, but I never talk to them about the weight loss. I never talked about the weight gain. That's where I got stuck. That's where my nervous system got stuck. That was not part of my healing journey when I talked about it or even recognized it. My nervous system got stuck in survival, and I gained an extreme amount of weight in a short amount of time. Go to the doctor, they'll throw it at hormones. Oh, but you can't take medication because of, health reasons here, here, and here. So, they talked me into thinking that this was everything but what it truly was, my nervous system. So, my nervous system stopped. It retrained everything that I had done. Everything. And that's the part that we don't connect with, because it talks to my intuition. It talks to my body. It talks to, I mean, if there is that open line of communication that we are completely missing. But there we go. That's like too much in a short amount of time, but it's the truth.
I'm with you. I feel our nervous system connects us spiritual, mind,
Yeah,
and body.
it does.
I feel that our nervous system holds all the patterns, all the habits, all that is shaping our reality, and even we don't realizing. I
Yeah.
know
Because
yours was.
you can do all the healings you want to do. And you can work through, and go to the doctor and work through your emotional healing that you need to do, or whatever. But if your nervous system still thinks that we're back here and we haven't addressed it, you're not moving forward for a reason.
No, it pulls you back.
Pulls you back.
Pulls you back. Here's how I see it, right? I see it that the nervous system connect you in all parts and aspects of your being, right? As I mentioned, your spirit, your mind, your body. And then it goes and receive information, right? And then it's constantly scanning the environment, it's constantly scanning your reaction, it's constantly scanning what you're consuming, if you're reading, if you're on social media, if you're at work, right? And when it's doing that constant scanning, then it's choose, okay, is this safe or is this is unsafe? And then it goes and make that declaration depending on your belief, depending on where you are in your nervous system. Are you in fight or flight? Are you in survival mode? Are you more in a more peaceful nervous system, right? That you're truly flowing, that you're truly surrendering to life, and you digesting life in a completely different way.
Exactly. And it does. And I know that it interacts with everything, but I mean, we have so many layers to us in our healing. So many layers. But if you just do not take the nervous system seriously, it's like it's a joke. But there's so many things, like you said, and then be sensitive and empathic on top of that. Because then you're not just okay, it's not you're reacting to other people. So add in that layer, and we have all kinds of courses and things that we can do to help us, empathically, but we're still reacting to, our nervous system is still looking for that reaction.
I love that you mentioned about being an empath and being high sensitive, right? Because you know I'm all about the empath and empowering
But
the
it
empath, right?
but
Uh,
everybody listening to this conversation, I guarantee you, is already sensitive and already knows that they're empathic. They already know their intuition's yelling at them. They already know that they're having these reactions. But it is differently for somebody that is empathic, because then we're carrying their emotions and our emotions. And if you're emotionally not healed, if you're spiritually not healed, if you haven't addressed all of those areas, you just stay here.
so in my research, right, in my learning, here's what I learned. Majority of empath, majority of high sensitive, they are in the dorsal vagal state. And this is mostly all their life. They're in freeze, they're in shutdown, they even didn't know it. I didn't know it, right?
Mhm.
Because I look functional. I look amazing. I have an amazing job. I had an amazing family, right? But inside, I feel nothing. I felt numb. And one of the part of kind of symptoms of your being in dorsal vagal state, it is numbness. It is
I
you suppressing your expressions. It is you constantly people pleasing. It is you having a hard time receiving. And I'm talking about receiving love, receiving abundance, receiving money, receiving support, all of it. So, my journey, I feel that it holds true that I didn't learn a lot of the nervous system because I healed the symptom first. So
mhm.
my first step that I heal, it was numbness because I was not feeling the feelings. Like I knew a little bit of love. I knew about unconditional love because of being a mother. I knew a little bit of sadness, but I didn't know how grief felt in my body. I didn't know how rage felt in my, even anger. Like I had people telling me for 3 weeks, different people, why you're so angry, in me not recognizing that I was in a state of anger.
But I'm with Carol, and that's the part where I feel that Carol and I are a little differently because you can go through your healing journey, and I mean, and I think we're all grown up enough to say it is spiritual, it is physical. You have to take your physical health seriously. If you're, it's everything. But like she said, before, we were just going, "Oh, it's this symptom," and we're going down that road, and then it was like, "Oh, it's this symptom." We don't have to do that. We've had that conversation so many times that we've made this so much harder than it had to be. But we needed to, of course, go through those experiences to understand it. And then when we see somebody else that's like us, we can go, "Oh, hold on, hold on. This doesn't have to be that rough. Work, okay." And it can, and everybody will come up to me and says, "Oh, but I don't know how to meditate." I'm not a great meditator. I can get my head clear, but it took me, I would tell you, it used to take me 45 minutes to an hour to do work now that I can do in you know what I'm saying, get to a flow state that I'm in seconds. But there's ways that, but we said, if we weren't treating those symptoms of what was preventing us to get there, to, with our nervous system calm and everything else, I could have gotten there so much quicker.
Agree.
And I wouldn't be, what I'm saying. It doesn't have to be that way. You really don't. You don't have to take this course to alleviate this problem. You really truly need to consciously work on it all and start with your nervous system.
Agree. But we didn't learn that after 7 years. So, hey, take it or leave it. Because like my step was always like the symptoms. What
Hmm.
really I never thought until this year to put the intention and the focus on the nervous system. And this is why I'm learning so much and I love it and appreciate
Hmm.
it, right?
Me
Now,
too.
the beauty about treating the symptoms is like now I can, with my experience, teach
Hmm.
about it. With my
Yeah.
experience, like, hey, don't go that route. It's gonna take you longer.
Yeah.
Do it this
Or like for
route.
me, it's like the big part of mine was spiritually. Like I had real wounds with church and me and everything and how I lived. Like that was a symptom of how it was showing up in my life. And it was a big, that was a big part of my journey. But it's the same thing. It was still a symptom of how it was reacting, how I was reacting to the church, or how it came into me, or how I was reacting to this part of my programming that was in it. Because everything goes back to how we reacted. And the only way we reacted that way is because our nervous system was telling us to react that way. But at the same time, go back to me going, they were saying, "Hey, you need to get more personal." Like, well, how much more personal can I get? Like, I will share every part of who I am, but I never did talk about when I know I got stuck. What was going on in our life? What experience? And believe it or not, you would think that I got stuck when bad things were happening. I didn't. I got stuck when we were on our way up, because I was so concerned that it was gonna go away.
Yeah, but I
So
feel like, and you can hear this, like you're not healing to not feel the trauma, to not feel what's hard. You're not healing that because you're accustomed to that. Your nervous
mhm,
system feels familiar with that state. It is more to relearn. It is
it
more
is.
to fully understand what happiness looks like, what joy looks like, what
Looks
being healthy looks like,
looks like.
what a
And
nervous system.
it always goes back to awareness. Is it mine?
Mhm.
Me and Carol talk a lot too. When we're going through there and how we're retraining our nervous system and how we're allowing things to happen, is it mine? Is it something I need to know about, or is this something I can put back later? To be able to go through those test steps, and for me, I think there's like 10 clear ones. I'm not going to go down that list, like how I look at it, but to be able to go down that list and retrain everything so you can be whole in all areas of your life, not just, your intuition and your body, but professionally or personally of how it affects everything. And you really do have to stop. And once it's in your awareness, it's if your journey really is to heal on the other part, once it gets in yours, it's your responsibility.
And you need to own it.
And you do, and you need, and whatever responsibility you owe to it, you need to own it.
So
And you need to. Thank you. Go ahead.
I'm with you. The first question that I always ask is it mine, right?
Is
Because
it mine?
we're empath and we take the energy of the environment, the people, and even the people that we love, right? But the second question that I always ask, so I do not go into shutdown, is what is it here to teach me? Not why. Because we sometimes
Yeah.
hang out on the why, and the why is not the right question to ask. Because
It's
then,
not. The thing is, why I literally just had this conversation yesterday with somebody. I'm like, because they were leaning in that why so much. And I go, but you're asking questions that may not ever get an answer to. And why are you going to continue to put yourself in that looping pattern of how your body is continuing reacting, searching for that why? How do you know? It's not just your mind, our body goes through it. Every time we question it, our body reacts, our body feels. I used to think that women go through that midlife crisis in their 40s, and when we were younger, it's like, oh, that's what I had to look for. No, their body just couldn't react anymore. It couldn't do anymore. And I understand now when I'm in my 50s and a grandmother, you know, but no, is it mine?
and why
No,
is
why?
here to teach me? What's the lesson? How can I grow from it? And I feel like asking this question personally to me, right? It makes the difference because now I am not reacting to life, I'm responding to life, right? I'm not taking things personal. I'm thinking it more out of curiosity. I don't shut down. I'm like, oh, hello. And literally, I'm like, hi, how are you? Um, Tell me, what do you want to teach me today? And I even do it with a smile with it. Now, when I
Yeah,
get,
and I can, but it has once it gets in your awareness, it's like, and you see, even if it's like a negative thing, I can look at it going, "Oh, I see you there. Thank you. Thank you for showing your face today. Now, what can I do to, how can I respond my responsibility to this?" But and then I also ask questions. Is this something I can do right now?
yes.
And if it is, what can I do? If it's not, and I need to observe more, because maybe there's more to be seen, but there's questions. And that's why when you'll get readings and stuff like that, when you will get channelers or mediums that are telling you, hey, I really think you need to be writing stuff down, or I think you really need to be journaling, because that's where it's coming out and showing up into your awareness. It's not like, oh, sit down and write about your day. When you get curious and stuff like that, I noticed this. Okay. And be accountable to it, because that's when you can let it go out and you really can transmute that energy out of your systems. And that's why me and Carol always say it's systems. It's not just one, it's several, because you have pain body, you have an emotional body, you know what I mean? And we are clearing all of that, not just our religious programming on Saturday afternoon. We're clearing all of it. and how we transmute it out of our life and how we're bringing joy into it after it's gone.
This is what I can tell you. When I started putting more intention into healing the nervous system, not the symptoms, not the
Not
numbness,
this.
not the people pleasing, not the shutdown, not the pattern, not the habit, more on the intention of what it's being storage in my nervous system, including everything, right? Including the patterns, the habit, the limited belief, right? And where did it started? Because I
Mhm.
feel like the root, like the starting point, is really important.
I do too. And that's for me, even like me acknowledging, oh, I can now I know exactly where I went into it. It's because you've got to give your, it's like you've got to give your story a vocabulary. And if you don't know, like, and if you're not acknowledging it, you're not giving it its story. You can't give it its words. You can't give it its final, say so to it. Or I like to look at it as, if you're not giving it its vocabulary, you're just never really fully receiving.
And then
So,
sometimes just given that vocabulary, it's all you need. And it
yeah.
start melting. It start like going away. Like if you're feeling anger and you say, "Oh, I'm feeling anger," I'm going to like promise you just by naming it, it
Hmm.
may start shifting. Now, not all the time, because
Not all the
sometimes we
time.
need to dig deeper into why is the anger storage in there, right? Where did it start? Is it in childhood? Is it when you were a teenager? Is it when you being an adult? Like what is it underneath it, right?
Yeah. But I also with Carol where she's going too. And we hold things physically. We have a responsibility to, within your own belief system, like to physically take care of our health. And if that is, acupuncture, whatever, there's other ways to help release this energy that is there. I mean, we put it there. We have to release it, and and it's not, and I like that. It's not like a one stop shop, like, oh, I took a breath one day. Now, oh, all my anger is gone. I just told it to go away and I signed off all of my contracts. But if you're not like still retraining your brain to not react to the anger and putting all the steps in place, it's like you still wake up and go, oh, there it is. But you just never really put it away. You just go, mm. So the steps are important. And that includes transmuting the energy, acknowledgement. And when we say let go, of what it really truly feels like to let something go at a soul level. That's why we say it takes so many different aspects and angles to healing. Because learning how the intention of really letting something go at a soul level and how that feels to release, you cannot really do that unless you've retrained all of the bodies. So
I have a question for you.
go for it.
Does your nervous system actually feel safe to hold the life that you are trying to create?
It does now. And it's learning more. I'm learning how to expand that bandwidth. And I think that is more on a highly sensitive person as well, because we do feel things at a different level. And as you grow and heal, it changes. So, yeah,
I love that. How about you, listener? Is your nervous system feeling safe to help you create what you're trying to create? If this talk resonates, I invite you to join us. Lisa and I, we are really gifted healers. We go deep and we meet weekly every Wednesday at noon Eastern Standard Time. And we are guided, we set intention, and we support your nervous system and what you're holding in your nervous system. If it's pattern, if it's habit, if it's trauma, whatever it is, right?
it
So
shows up and it talks to us. And that's the thing. And we know as you're learning to understand when your body's talking to you and your soul's talking to you, we're really there to help give you that verbiage of what it's trying to say as you're learning to do that for yourself. Because at the end of this is sovereignty. And I mean, that's the goal.
Now, I want you to know that your nervous system is doing its job. It's protecting you.
It's
But
protecting you.
maybe that protection is not longer serving you highest good. So it
Yeah.
needs to be shifted. It needs to be thought different. And the big one, and please, Lisa, let me know if you agree. Your nervous system needs to feel safe.
It needs to feel safe.
It will not be
I've
allowed. Go ahead,
mm-mm. For
sorry.
years, people have always asked like the purpose question, and I've always said in the shortest way as I can, you're here to heal all parts of who you are, and you're here to create afterwards. If that's joy, but you cannot do that in an unsafe manner because it's always going to loop something back around to block it.
Yes. And we are our biggest self sabotage.
Big time.
Until next time.
Until next time, everyone.